Give me a second. So, hello everyone, good evening, and welcome to yet another episode of Chit Chat with Sweta. As you all know, this show was started with the sole purpose of this whole idea of Chit Chat with Shweta was started with the only intention of getting people on the show who have such amazing journeys to share, which is inspiring and which is the need of the hour. Where people can get inspired, can change their perspectives, and ultimately help themselves and help people around them to lead a better life. So today we have another guest with us who is a true example of that, how she is leading a life the way she wants to. But definitely it has not been easy for her. It's been a journey, yet she's an optimistic, like I would say, a most optimistic person I have met, a very jovial person, and she has another side to her personality as well, where she likes cooking and serving, traveling. But one thing she firmly believes is you treat the people the way you want to be treated, and I think that's just beautiful. With this, I would like to call today on our virtual setup, I would say. Today's guest, that is Olivia Ananya Zoey. Welcome, Olivia, to Chit Chat with Shweta.
Hi, Shweta. It's an honor to be a part of your show, I would say, or rather an event. And yes, I think as we all spoke, the journey has just begun and miles to go before I sleep. That is what I would like to say at the start.
Yes. So, Olivia, firstly, it's completely my pleasure that you are here with me today, and I've got this opportunity to talk to you. I will not be, speaking much today because there's so much to hear from you, and we want you to talk. So, tell us about yourself. Your entire journey, your childhood, how it has been for you. Now, let's hear it from you.
Sure. Well, I wouldn't say my journey was pleasurable. It was just like I was put into a park and I mean, everywhere I could see is dinosaurs. So I was in a kind of a Jurassic Park wherein I needed to find people like me who were connected, who were jovial, who were sensitive. And that took me around, the transformation took around 35 years, I would say. But the inception of a thought that this is not who I am, that was in a very young age when I was 5 or 6 years of age, I would say, rather 6 or 7 years, when I was getting onto the puberty age. So that was a time when I realized one thing, that I'm more inclined towards feminine side. I'm more inclined towards uh, mothers, aunts, or my girlfriends in the school, or I mean, the children who I used to play. They were all girls or females. I never had much interaction with the male counterparts because I never felt that kind of connectivity or the love or affection from them. And to be very honest, I knew that something is not right. But at the tender age, you do not have to think about anything else rather than studies. That is who I was, and I was not an exception. So it so happened that when I started getting onto eighth standard or ninth standard, that is a time when I felt the urge of that. This is not who I am. I was born premature, and I knew that somewhere down the line, God had its own plans for me. So I started growing up with a thought that one day, things will be the way what I have thought then when I was just in eighth standard. How it will be, where it will be, I did not have any idea. I remember in one of the interviews, I'd like to mention Snehal here, uh, that she did mention that if you think over anything here, one day it's gonna happen. But you have to firmly hold on to that thought. You have to firmly work towards the progress of the thought. Now, I was in Bihar, wherein, you know, the female counterparts, be it anyone, daughter, aunt, wife, mother, they were not really open to pour in their thoughts. Most of the decisions of the house, I used to say, is being made by male counterparts. When you go outside, it is the male dominancy that I could see. That was not in my house though, because my mother was working and she knew where to draw the line. So that is what I learned from her. That, patience is something which I've learned from her. And since I did not have access, you can say, to anybody whom I can speak to be very honest, what I was feeling deep inside, I cannot even express today also as to how I was feeling as a child. But that was very traumatic because, as I mentioned, and I will say it very openly because people, my school friends, all sorts of name was called. Somebody would call me 50-50, somebody will call me a hermaphrodite, somebody will call me a eunuch, and all those nonsense. And I was a very timid person in school because I was very girlish, as I said, and my hormones were already there in me since birth, which nobody knew. So I used to cry. I used to, cry in solitude, but never spoke to anyone. But the positive side today I see is if they wouldn't have called me by names, I wouldn't have become so strong. But the negative side was I was never focused on studies because I had so much of download from the outside world that I hardly used to concentrate. So obviously, I was not a very studious person as well because my mind used to travel here and there. And every day it was kind of a fear for me as to how would I go to the school tomorrow? What names would be called? How would they behave? You know? And my journey of struggle started then. After that, after 10th, somehow I passed over 10th and I went to the college. Now, when I went to the college, I was put in a hostel where there were only guys. You know, that was a big challenge for me. And I used to hate guys, to be very honest, because all those things that I told you in the school that also added to the abuses that I faced in life because there were few acquaintances, there were few men who used to come to my house. My parents know about it, and today the media is so open, social media or electronic media, print media. You can read and see many things happening today, but back then I'm talking about 89, 90. That was the time. So I was abused, and I'm not ashamed about it because that was not who I was. That was the perpetrator who did that to me. And that was also one incident that inflicted hatred for men in me. And when I went to college, I knew that something is not right in the college also because I was given a name Pari. I thought that, I was very, innocent kind of a character. And I thought that, people just like me. That is the reason they said this. But I didn't know that they mocked behind my back. So that is who I was, and the journey started. And I focused on my studies then because I knew that somewhere down the line, my mother wanted me to get good grades. And since I was focused in my studies, I couldn't concentrate on my personal life. But then I became aloof from everyone. I mean, I didn't have friends. I hardly used to be socializing amongst people. When I was in college, of course, I had to speak because I didn't have a choice. But when I used to come home after that, and since mobile phones were not there at that point of time, so that is a time when I realized that I have to be in solitude. Now, staying alone is a big curse, I would say, because that is when you have a lot of negative feelings. You feel very regressive. You feel very remorseful. And I remember one friend. His name is Ritesh Kumar Ocha. I'm talking about the year 1999 to 2003. So that was the time when I got a really, really angelic person and divine person in my life. And one day he heard me everything. We got up 3 in the morning because 3:30 he used to go for walk and jogging. So he told me exercise. Your brain will empower you by physical exercises. So that was the time when we became very close as friends, and that was the time when he heard me as a guardian, which nobody in my life till then heard me. I remember that day I was sitting in the park, there was nobody around except us, and I was just, blurting everything that was in my mind in my birth. He was the first person to know that, this is not what who I was. And I knew that after that, maybe our friendship could have been broken. But
Right.
to my, I mean, shock, I would say, rather, he did not leave me. He did not leave my hands. He made sure that my graduation is first division. At the same time, my personal life is in sync with what I think. Though he could not do much, and in a very short span of time after 2002, he had to go back to his house to handle his father's business. And after that, I was not in touch. I never saw him again. But the kind of talks, the kind of energy, the kind of positivity with he inscribed in me, that is still late. I can say that Olivia was very, very shrewd when I passed out from school after 10th. Olivia was very, very cunning, I would say. Olivia was every negative adjective that you can say, because I was so much in anguish, so much
Right.
in angst that, I just wanted to, blow out people out of proportion. That is who I was when I was in 11, 12th in my intermediate and first year of graduation. But 80% what I'm today, I really, really owe my life to him, because the thoughts that came over me is from him. And he was a very, very dear person. He was a charismatic personality. I could see that time. And I thought to myself, this is what I want to be one day, wherein people come to me and ask me and learn from me.
Right.
So, where I used to feel like a failure, a place of hopelessness, I started feeling, being a creative person, inspiring person, and I could not see that side of me till that time. After that, I passed on my graduation, and of course, at that tender age, you just have a crush or you get attracted to people. That was the same case with me, and I'm a kind of a very, very emotional person, so I got attracted to someone, but my heart broke as any other teenager. And I settled on one thing, that I want to go to Pune. Why? Because I came to give my SMS's interview in 2000, in the year 2000. And that was a time when I realized that Ranchi, which is the capital of Jharkhand, and Pune is very similar. The crowd, the environment, the aroma of this place, everything was very positive. So I thought, nevertheless, I will only go to Pune. 2005, then I got admission in my MBA. Now in MBA, that's a big task because there are a lot of grown up people. I was the only person who was short, who was bubbly character. Now MBA people are like, they are very personified, not
Yes,
personified.
yeah. They have a different persona altogether.
Yes, very serious type. They will not laugh, only studies, studies. And I was a kind of a college going character, so I was very bubbly. And initially, first year, I could not make friends more for the first 6 months, because many people thought that I'm a crackpot, as I used to laugh a lot. And I didn't know that, many places, there is already a predetermined personality that you need to carry yourself with. So, but I did not bother about the society again, and I didn't move forward. And after 6 months, I gelled with everyone in the class. Not even a single time I wore formals or gave presentations. The only thing which was luring that time was that I could speak English better. So I think that went on. And that was again a huge task. Again, I have to get a job, so I have to study very hard. So again, my personal life was somewhat detached from me. 2005, when there was a flood in Mumbai, I came to Pune 31st of August. That was the first step of my success, I would say, which I call. And after that, I would say that it was a free air I could breathe. Okay. But I was still confused. What am I supposed to do next?
Right.
So then I started my career in call centers, and thanks to the call center environment, which taught me a lot of things, which gave me an openness to the LGBT group, which I never knew.
Right.
And that was very new to me. To be, and I will be very honest here, and maybe it might sound rude to some people, but it was back then in 2005. So please forgive me if I'm trying to be very open. I never accepted the LGBT community first of all, because the behavior pattern was very new to me, and I never knew that I'm a part of that as well. So that is how I started. I was in Wipro then, and then my journey started with various call centers. And trust me, after that, in 2009, uh, I mean, I was into sales. So, of course, performance is needed. You know, there was a time when my performance deteriorated in 1 week. I mean, if I was at 80%, I deteriorated to 30%. So, my manager, I will name everyone because I'm very grateful. I want them to watch this and I want to feel that how grateful I am. His name is Nikhil Sadanand. He's a Puneite. And he heard me all. He took me to the cabin. He asked me, what is the problem? Why you're not performing? I told him this is what my problem is, and this is what I'm suffering from, and I don't know what to do. Immediately, he spoke to his team operations manager, his higher authority, and he told me next day you're going back home. You're going to tell everything to your parents. 2009 June. So I was very nervous. Okay, the time has come to inform my parents about it. By then, I was 28. So I went home and I thought that being from a Christian family, since my mother has struggled a lot, people will be sensitive, But I forgot one thing, that prestige is more than anything else in Bihar or the places like that. I'm not trying to defame Bihar, but this is what happens there. People don't accept your kins, your child, or their problems. Prestige is beyond that. So it so happened when I went there and I told my mother that, Mom, I need to talk to you. It's very, very serious. And she heard me all. She did not hear me, although. And in just the midst of the conversation, first of all, she was not believing that I was molested or abused. And my father did not hear me because he was not there in the conversation. And my mother said that this is just a joke that you're saying us, and it's there just into your mind, and everything will be fine one day. And I still don't remember who inflicted in my mother's mind that shadi kar do, everything will be okay. Now this itself is a very 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 gruesome thought. I mean,
Right.
marriage is not the solution for everything. Now I for sure knew because the place where I went was Begusarai, that is in Bihar. Today it has developed, but that time it was not developed at all, and people's mindsets still have not developed there, I would say. And my mother said, "Nee, nothing is possible. We will not be going ahead and buying your thoughts. So you have to live with it. And don't blurt it out to anyone because if people come to know, हमारी तो बेइज्जती हो जाएगी." This is what I was told. And with tears and all, with a heavy mind, with a heavy heart, I came back. Excuse me. And I remember I told my team leader, Nikhil, that I'll not be coming for a week or so, which again was approved. And it took me one week actually to recuperate from what happened because 15 days I spent at my house and nothing fruitful happened. So
Olivia,
that was the
one
time.
thing over here, I would, want to ask you, like you said that when you were growing up, your schoolmates and everybody used to kind of abuse you because they were not sensitive to what you were going through. But they must, so similarly, your parents also must have noticed some behavioral patterns in you while you were growing up. Or is it that they were completely in the denial mode or something which they just is beyond their imagination, so they don't even want to give it a thought?
See,
Was
first of all, my father was working in the same school. He was a PA to the principal. So I was very scared, first of all. And more or less, when you are being called names and when you come back to the house, you just don't know what to say to the parents, how to communicate. So, communication, I think, is the biggest problem in every house today. Not, metropolitan like Pune, but yes, in small cities like where I was, because the children, the child does not know what to communicate, how to communicate.
they are not
Even
encouraged to talk
exactly.
at
And
home.
more or less, even if they say that, parents react as if, koi baat nahi, koi baat nahi. Now, that koi baat nahi is a big, I would say, baggage on the child's
Right.
mindset because they don't know that today they have been called names, tomorrow they might thrash him or abuse the child. So that's not going to be fruitful for the child because the child is bearing it, not the parents.
Absolutely. For the child, it's a big thing. That is why the child is coming and telling you. But we as adults just brush it off and say कि कुछ नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं है, or just ignore it. Right? True.
Exactly. And I would say that parents need to take a oath here that they need to make sure that the child is assured and they are told that you're being protected by us. If they do not have that confidence in their parents, if they do not have the confidence in the siblings, if they're studying the same school, trust me, their morale, their enthusiasm is gone for a toss. They will never be able to be in sync with their career or focus on the studies. And every child, to be very honest, every one of us, whether it is a male or a female, don't we want to live in a conducive environment? We all want. But are we doing our responsibility to do that? And moreover, just because I would say someone who is listening or someone who the child is approaching has not gone through that trauma, it will be a very minor thing for the person. But for the
Right.
child, it's a big thing.
Usually.
Any kind of such incidences are alarming. You know. Today there is a rule that your child shouldn't be beaten up. But in my time, oh my goodness, the teachers were brutal. Teachers were
Absolutely.
brutal. I could see that on in the classroom itself. And of course, you can call it nepotism or favoritism was always there. So where would a child go who's already downtrodden by birth, who is gender dysphoric, who is being called names by the society, who is not able to focus on the studies, and at the same time they are not able to voice it out at home also.
Right.
So that is a big baggage we carry. To be very honest, it's not small. And I remember I came with the same baggage to Pune because uh, I don't know whether people gauge at you that you are a very vulnerable sort of a person. I would say that the kind of men I have faced in my life, mostly strangers, they were all vultures, all vultures. This is the kind of a society that I have grown up with, and I'm still in the same society. Now, I cannot get into somebody's mind like what do you say, parasite and change the thoughts. I cannot do that. What I can do is I can protect myself.
Absolutely.
So, to be very honest, when my journey started in 2009, that was the time my first journey started when I was vocal about it.
Right.
After that, I believe that the whole concept of transition was not in my mind. After that, I just thought that chalo theek hai, I will live my life the same way as it is. But I did not think that is it feasible? Am I going to do justice to myself? And how much stressful it will be because I'm already carrying a baggage, and that container is getting overloaded now.
True.
So in 2010, I visited Jahangir Hospital, which is a famous hospital here. I consulted a psychologist and a urologist, wherein they found that something is wrong with my anatomy, and They were not so progressive about this thought that I should transform myself. But yes, at the same time, they thought that they told me that it's not possible for you to stay like this the entire life. So I thought to myself that let my mother retire. Post her retirement, I'll think about myself. Till that time, I have to park my thoughts somewhere in a safe place. And I remember the basic, not basic, I would say, the main hindrance, trust me, Sweta, what I felt was using washrooms, lavatories, whether it is the airport, whether it is the railways or anywhere in public, whether it is malls. I just used to gauge at both the washrooms, where should I go? And you can't hold your, you know, whatever it is within you for a longer period of time. It's not good for your body. So I literally stopped going to malls. I literally stopped traveling. But that was going ahead and making your life short, to be very honest. I was cutting myself from all those things which I deserved. So somewhere down the line, I had to take a decision. So I'll be very open and honest this time because I've not spoken before. Not even Snehal knows everything about it. So 2017, I remember, one day I was very hopeless, feeling very, very hopeless, very low as to what kind of a life is this. I can't breathe fresh air. I can't live freely actually. Most of the people who I am with, mostly guys, I would say, they only want to go ahead and do something wrong or believe in something wrong. And some people just like to call me names, okay, which I'm not. So that was creating a lot of pressure on me. And one day, the first time, I tried to attempt suicide. I was all alone in this house, in the same house, and 11:30 was the time, I remember. I didn't have guts, to be very honest, but I had to decide whether I have to live or I have to withdraw myself from life. I tried hanging myself. It is just a moment of truth wherein I saw somebody's face flashing down, and I said that at least I can speak to this person. And that was the time when I went to the altar. The entire night for the continuously 7 to 8 hours, I cried. I cried my heart out. I just touched the statue of Mother Mary and I just told her as to what is this life? Why are you giving me so much of struggle? The struggle doesn't seem to stop anywhere. So the next day, when I got up from my sleep and I'm an acute migraine patient, I had migraine that day. I remember I spoke to my dad for 3 hours. The aunt that I'm talking about from Kolkata, Dawaliganj, whom we just shared before this talk, uh, I spoke to her first. And I will be very, very blunt here to say whatever happened. She is a ultra high net worth, as she said, and her husband works in Indian Oil. You know what she said? That your parents, after hearing this, they will get a heart attack. And I was just listening to her. A child who has lived an oppressive life, a child who has been tampered so much every now and then, the child's morale is gone. Okay, the child is saying that I attempted suicide. Okay, you are saying you're still thinking of my parents who have lived their life just because they are at that age. I was not expecting anything, but I thought that if somebody will come like this to me, first of all, I embrace the person. For whatever happened, I will be empathetic towards the person. I will assure the person, don't worry, we are there to think about you. But that didn't come that way. But she advised me that I should speak to my parents. They will not accept it. She told me that also. I said, okay, fine. So that day I called my father in the night. So from 11 to 2 o'clock, that is the first time when I spoke to my dad as a father and a child relation. I never had the opportunity to speak to him so openly. So by that time, I had decided this is what I want to do, come what may. And I was very, very stringent on that thought. After that, I spoke to my father. My father said, okay, fine, go ahead with your thought. And next day, he messaged me, which was again very regressive, I would say. It was a very negative message for me, stating that if you are done with your decision, that's okay, but at least think about us. We are in the post retirement phase. How will we live our life? Now, I'm not defaming anyone, but I was just looking at myself in the mirror and I was saying, I'm just 30. My parents are 60 plus. So I have my full life to live. What am I supposed to do? This is not my mistake that I was born premature. This was not my mistake that I went through all the struggles. And I never invited struggles in my life. It was there, chosen by God. And I overcame all the struggle with much boost. So then I thought that this is how society is. They will only think about themselves. Nobody's gonna think about you. So that was the time when I stood up. Hello?
Yes, I think we lost the connection. You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear now. So continue to talk. I remember that I had met a famous personality, and I would like everybody to interview her as well. Her name is Ghazal Dhaliwal. Just a brief synopsis. She was born as boy Sardar in a Punjabi family from Patiala, and that was Gunraj. She's a Bollywood scriptwriter today, and she worked in Infosys, and her journey is also tremendous. It's very inspiring. So I had met her long back once. I just saw a glimpse of her, and I could see one thin, fragile girl, very curvy figure, is just walking towards somewhere, and I was gazing at her because the advantage with me was being in LGBT community. I used to go for such events or parties. So I was looking at her, and somebody just tapped me like this and said, "Do you know who she is?" She's Ghazal Dhaliwal. I said, "Who?" Ghazal Dhaliwal. Okay. And she was looking beautiful. Okay. And later on, I found her on a television show hosted by Amir Khan called Satyame Vijayate,
Mm.
wherein it was the same kind of a topic that we're discussing today, acceptance. It was like, we should accept everybody the same way. And she presented herself so well. And whatever things she was saying, I was able to connect her. This is exactly what happened to me. Maybe I was more into a rude shock of life, but the way she transformed herself, her voice, her face, everything. If you even Google it up, you can see her. And then I YouTubed her and I saw a couple of videos wherein she was addressing some companies. Oh my goodness, that created a lot of emotions in me that yes, I can also do it. That was a kind of a magic. So after that, I started getting all the details. Am I audible, Sureka?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So for some reason, I don't know why it says Sureka instead of Sweta.
It's okay.
Okay. So going ahead, and then I started getting information because the transition capital of the world is Thailand. So I got through the plane tickets. I got through the appointment with the doctor. I just thought, let's consult once. Let's see what happens. But the what I would say, I was so frightened to go alone abroad because a lot of people said that Thailand is not good when you are a first time traveler, and a lot of things can happen to you. People scared me so
Right.
much that I said no, no, I'll not go. So then I just typed in the best surgeon, trans surgeon in India, and the first option that came was Dr. Narendra Kaushik's. And when I started reading his reviews, believe me, out of 15 reviews that I read, 14 were best. Everybody applauded the doctor. Why not? I'll meet the doctor. Now, I didn't know the procedure, so by this platform, I'm gonna tell the procedure as well. Any child who is gender dysphoric, first of all, you need to visit a psychiatrist. You need to visit a psychologist only when they give a clean sheet to you because it has to be found out psychologically that yes, you are a gender dysphoric kid. So surgery is a requirement, not your choice. After that, you're being sent to urologist where a couple of tests are being done. Only when those tests reveal that you have more of female hormones, if it is a male to female, and if you have male hormones, if it's female to male, only then Dr. Kaushik addresses you. And in my story, I mean, it was very evident that I have to go with the surgery. So I met Dr. Kaushik for the first time. And the first time I would tell you, when I met to see the psychologist in March 2017, I had broad eyebrows, short hair, bulky figure, and psychologist saw me like, "Aapko karani hai? Aapko?" This is the way he addressed me, and I said yes. So after talking to him a lot and the psychologist, they came to a conclusion. Let's send, Olivia for tests. So I went, I passed over there as well, and I went to Narendra Kaushik. So doctor then on his screen, he showed me lot of females. First of all, when I was sitting in the lobby at the reception area, I was only looking at beautiful girls. And trust me, beautiful means beautiful. I thought maybe they might have some gynec problem. That is the reason they have come. And I was thinking, he's a surgeon. Why would they come to him? So when I went inside, and he had that camera which was also showing people in the lobby. And to my surprise, when he pointed out everyone, there was a lady who was sitting in a hijab, in a burqa. That girl, I mean, she was no less than Aishwarya Rai. Green eyes, beautiful curved face, all those things. I was flabbergasted. I was filled with thrill. And doctor told me, see, this is what your reports are. This is where we stand. This is where you have to go. I said, okay. So how to go about it. So before that, he just asked me one thing about my family situation, because he said that 80% of people who are gender dysphoric, they're either asked to leave their houses, they're abandoned by the family, or they get into sex racket to earn their livelihood, or most of them kill themselves because they're not able to handle the pressure. So he told me one thing, that before anything happens, will you be the brand ambassador of being a gender dysphoric kid and a trans woman? I said yes, of course. Why not? Why not? Because most of the people who came to him, I think I was the only person who was very educated. He felt that, and he told me that I want you to make a difference. And I said yes, I will definitely make a difference.
You're doing
And
it so
maybe
beautifully.
maybe he's just plight in me that I'm so aggressive in nature, and I want to go ahead with a thought, not even thinking once. See, surgery is not a small thing; it's a big thing. Now he did tell me about the repercussions also, because it depends upon person to person. Maybe that one person who is able to go ahead with the transition beautifully, the other person might not. Okay, because there are a lot of things involved within that. So I'm getting goosebumps when I'm discussing this, because I can feel that moment. I was sitting in front of the doctor and his wife was there, and doctor said that अगर मुझे पैसे लेने होते मैं हाँ बोल देता surgery के लिए, but my duty is to inform you and then go ahead with your decision, whatever it is. I was just thinking, this is what my posture was. I was just thinking, and I told the doctor, do you think I have come so far from Pune just to say that I will think about it? I said, doctor, I have already plunged into the ocean and I'm ready for it now. So one thing I told him, ki, as it is, my life is not very fruitful, because it's not very, very easy for me to live a life like this, because people staring at you, people gazing at you the other way, that is not welcoming for me. That is alarming. And I'm ready to take a plunge, come what may. So he looked at my face, front face, sideways, and he made me stood like this. And he said that I think we don't have to work more on you, because gender dysphoria also have the facial surgeries done, rhinoplasty, jawline, cheekbones, and all those things, the forehead. So I said, let's see. So let's do one thing, Olivia. And he was very positive with me. The first day itself, he started calling me Olivia. And he said that let's do one thing. We'll go for a review after 6 months exactly, because we want to know how your hormone is working on you, hormone pills. So again, an good to know information for all the gender dysphoric kids, that surgery doesn't happen instantly. You have to have uh, you have to go through 2 years maximum rigorous hormonal therapy, wherein you have to take hormonal.
You're back.
Am I audible, Sweta?
Yes, yes. Now you are. The connection, I think, it
So
got lost.
yeah. So after that, what happened was that I was very thrilled because I knew that doctor is going to be surprised. That is the first time when I started doing my eyebrows. I
Wow.
don't go to the salon. I do my eyebrows on my own. So I went to the doctor. First of all, again, you have to the same procedure. You have to visit the psychologist, psychiatrist, psychologist, urologist, and doctor. And the same psychologist who had told me "Aapko karani hai," and he saw me and he was not believing that it's the same person,
Same.
because the magic had already happened. The hormonal pills created so much of magic, and my body welcomed it
Right.
with the same enthusiasm. So I was pushed over to psychologist. She passed me, then urologist. They passed me, and then finally I went to Dr. Kaushik. So he gave me all the information that I could. Then he showed me a couple wherein a girl was operated, and approached by a very very handsome guy working in an MNC for marriage. Now that was a very very you know uh, emotional moment for the doctor as well, because he never thought that gender dysphoria kids can also have a married life. Yeah, I know that I cannot conceive, but the thing is, the beauty of this transition is that you do not look anything other than a woman. That was the beauty. And I was so thrilled to see that. And he told me that let's go ahead with 1 year more of hormonal therapy, and then 2018 we'll have a review, and then we'll go ahead with the surgeries. I said okay. So while coming back to Pune, I mean, I don't know, I should say this to everyone. We say that we are educated class, we are an elite class, we are very you know different from everyone in the society. But to be very honest, the kind of rotten things are there in more uneducated.
Absolutely.
Trust me, I'm saying that out of experience. When I was sitting at the airport, I could see a lot of gentlemen sitting in front of me. Everybody was staring at me like I was an opportunity for them. Trust me. I was not even operated that time. And that created a lot of hatred in me again. I thought that let me transition and then I'll show you guys. I was like a Jhansi Rani. And
But here I would like to ask you, Olivia, how, like when you were going through this hormonal therapy, what about your parents? How supportive were they, or what was their reaction? How did they take, as we are, talking about acceptance? So,
mhm,
how welcoming were they about this whole thing? Because you said you did have a conversation with your father where, next day he messaged you saying that do give it a thought. So, were
uh-huh.
they always in the loop that you are going through this therapy, and what was their reaction?
Well, my parents were still not okay with the thought. They were not. It was not welcome at all, because When I told my father that I have gone to the doctor, he did not show any reaction. And when I told my mother, she was a bit jolted that what have I done? Because of course they asked me what kind of medicines, because I did not hide anything. My medicines are kept right up front under the television unit. So they always used to ask me, and I still, this is my hormonal therapy. I've gone to the doctor. Now, my mother had an issue. She said that, why do you have to do all these things? We will not be accepting you. She was again in that mode. But I said that I will go ahead with it, no matter what. Whether we accept it, whether the society accepts it, my society is me. My world is me. If I'm not happy within myself, I cannot do any good to other people or the society. Simple. So there are a lot of fights happening in the house. There are a lot of arguments happening, but that did not deter me from going ahead. To be very honest, because I was determined, because I never wanted to go ahead and repeat the mistake which I did, of hanging myself again. Because I deserve a life. If God has given me or chosen me to send me on in this earth, I have a life to live, and definitely, unlike other children, I might not be very lucky to have very supportive people around me, but that doesn't mean that I will bow down to the traumas or the adversities and leave myself abandoned. I thought of only one thing, that no matter whether anybody is with me or not, I have to be with myself. I accepted myself the way I was. And when I met the doctor the first time, and by that time I think I was not very, I would say, shy character. I was open. I already open up. So the doctor, when when he said that I do not have to work on you more, that was the time when I decided, oh my god, this is the time that I want to go ahead with it. That confidence, that acceptance within me happened at the same time. And that was the time when, exactly where I mentioned in my book, The Shakti Awakening, that was the time when I saw unleashing power in myself. There were inception, there were birth of many powers, like confidence, being open, being vocal, talking very nicely to people, patience. All those things happen only after this decision. And as time flew, my body started changing. Believe me, I mean, I don't know how girl feels when they're in the puberty age, but I could feel myself as a holistic person because I was on cloud nine. That entire transformation, and that happens, does not happen physically, it happens mentally as well.
Right.
You're able to surround yourself with so much of women's thoughts and all those likes and dislikes and everything. So after a lot of things, and my parents, I knew that they're not going to accept me, so that was not a kind of a surprise for me. I was already mentally prepared for that. And uh, not only them, I mean, a lot of people near me in my office or there, nobody accepted me so easily. So there I would like to mention about my previous company, All Scripts. I mean, I have not seen a fabulous company like this, because the VP HR, Matilda Charles, when I went to her just to ask her that this is what I want to do, and that happened in 2017, I'm saying, ma'am, this is what I want to do, and this is who I am. And after I came from Delhi, so I met her and I told her, this is what I want to do. And do I need to leave my job? Because people will not be comfortable. You know, she did not even think about it, and she said, it's okay. It's just like a girl getting married and changing the surname. That's it. I
Well, I
mean,
was
where
just about to come to this aspect because, see, ultimately, we all need to earn a livelihood. So, what about the work opportunities after the transition? Are the people, still accepting about it? They are okay with it? Or, they look at you differently, or the opportunities close down? How is it in that space? How are things there?
Well, when I got this positive note from the vice president human resource, I was filled with a lot of gratitude and happiness, to be very honest. And she was a woman, and as I said, that I always get inclined toward women. And she called her subordinate. Her name is Sangeeta Subnis, and she was told that what help Olivia needs, please provide her. Who says this? And I was so thrilled, and I went down and I worked very well that day. And I remember I did not utter any word to anyone. And what HR did from her part is that she asked me to go ahead and prepare a PowerPoint so that all the female employees in the company are being informed about my situation. They're being told how to be sensitive, that sensitization has to be there. And through PowerPoint, they can tell that this is what the person is going through. So you need to treat it with respect and dignity. Because after transition, I knew that I have to use ladies' washroom. I have to get a security while I come home if I'm the last stop. All these positive things happen in that company. Believe me, it is one of the best companies I've worked with in terms of being employee centric. I'm talking about higher management. My manager will kill me. But when I got transition in 2018, soon after transition, I was feeling very awkward, to be very honest. That was a moment of awkwardness when I went to the office because my entire body had changed, my body language had changed, and I was given extra breaks. I was just noticing who is staring at me and who is not. To be very honest, as I said, I used to overthink. Nobody had time. See,
Right.
out of 100%, 99% people are good, 1% will be bad. We cannot help it. So I need to concentrate on the
Good
populous
part.
people, good,
Yes.
good people. So I can see that people have embraced and they have, but I mean, it was a hot topic in Allscript for many, many months because I was the only person. It's an IT park, so I'm the only first case of this sort in that IT park. So everyone wanted to know who this is, how did she go through all this, how did it happen? Because most of the thing for them it was not natural. They thought it is something unnatural, and they used to think that ladies from Maharashtra itself. I'm talking about Delhi airport. So they were there and they were going. There were 10 or 12 friends, and they were going on an international holiday. Everybody was looking at me, and as I said, that was the first time when I was out in public after my surgeries. So I was just looking down, not because I was feeling sorrowful, but I was like, I cannot handle questions. Everybody started walking towards me, and they said, "Ki, beta, have you gone through any surgeries?" I looked at them. I said, "Yes, auntie." They just brushed their hands on my head and they said, "God bless you. We can know what it is. We will not be making it public. But believe me, you have got a lot of guts." They didn't know my story, what happened in the house, but they said that I can salute your parents that they have given a birth to the right child. That was a proud moment. Okay, people who didn't know me at the airport, a huge crowd gather. And when the crowd gathers you, most of the people seem there's a kind of commotion. Let's see what happens. I was gathered by a lot of crowd that time, and I'm on the wheelchair. Somebody's offering me chocolate, somebody's offering me pen, somebody's offering me something or the other. And I was like, maybe they are in that pity phase that they're pitying me. But most of them just congratulated me. They were holding my hands and congratulating me, because one person, when she started, their group started, a lot of people started coming over. Even I'll tell you one more interesting thing. I remember when the first time I had gone to uh, visit the doctor. Of course, I had to go through the security thing where men were there, and I was very skeptical, man touching me and all. So he was just gazing at me, and he knew that he's going to do something nonsense. So I looked at him very confidently. I said, "Kid, don't try to do it, otherwise I'm going to make a halla out of here." And he did not do that. The same person was standing at the security after my surgery when I was in the wheelchair. The same person came and apologized for his behavior, and he said that I didn't know. And from there, from the place where I was, security thing happened, and the time when I boarded the flight, all this while I educated him. I made him, please make people aware, because maybe you guys are not aware, but we go through a lot of trauma. I have to respect that. And she started calling me sister, sister, and all. And then when I boarded the flight, oh my goodness, to be very, I felt like a VIP because I was the first one to board the flight, and deboarding mode after all the people, vacated the flight in Pune. And from the moment I was coming out of the flight till the time I entered the flight, I was actually treated very well. actually treated very well. I mean, the pilots came to see me, you know, nobody does that. So all these things were
Yes.
happening, and, you know, and even when you get out of the bus to board the flight, you stand in a queue. I was not in the queue. People were asked to, vacate my place, the ramp, and I was pulled over. So those things were very, very exceptionally very good. And nobody stared at me as if they have seen something unusual. It is very, very normal for that. And I think my hormonal therapy worked on me very well. So after that, all strips thing happened, which was very positive, and I started working. The cab drivers, the security outside my office, they were very, very, very thrilled to see me the way it was. Though the kind of dressing that I had was very, very tomboyish, but they could see and reveal the changes in me, and everybody celebrated my changes. Nobody was like, you shouldn't have done this. Of course there were people who told me that you shouldn't have done this, you should, but I was enjoying that journey. That is how my journey took place. And to be very honest, last year, uh, as I said, that my parents did not accept me, and there was a very big battle between me and my mother last year, November 8th. And I'm mentioning this because somewhere down the line I had lost hope again, because it was not getting very easy for me to live in the same house wherein people are not accepting you. I should have vacated the house long back when my transition happened in 2018, and I shouldn't have come back. But since they were my parents, I had to come back. So November 8th, I attempted the second suicide, and this time it was fatal. I was in the ICU for 10 days. I I did a lot of stuff, so it was close to impossible to save my life. But I knew that God was there to save me, and He told me that you're not coming to me so easily. Go there, fulfill your dreams, then come back. Then you will be getting an entry. Because that moment was so dreadful when I saw myself in ICU. I had lost, in 1 week span of time, I had lost 8 kgs. I had pipes in my both nose. I had IVs on both hands. I had pipe in the mouth. It was really dreadful. I will never, 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 like to see myself like that. And I believed that I'm a warrior. Somewhere down the line, my body fought with everything, and I came out beautifully. Unfortunately, I could not just do justice to my job, because depression was something. When I slipped into depression last year, it comes like a leech on your body. Slowly and steadily it get inflicted in your life, and it does not go so easily as well. So that was the time when I remember I had to tell myself that you have to gain confidence and you have to relive your moment. Last year, Snehal came into my life in August, wherein she wanted me to write a book on my life. That didn't happen, that didn't materialize. So this year, by God's grace, I got in touch with her in March. April 2nd, I was asked to leave. Okay. So that was again a shock. But you know that uh, when the job went, I was not baffled, I was not angry, because I knew something better is kept for me. So I participated in 30-day life challenge. To get out of that fear zone, wherein I was a crowd phobic person. I'm still a crowd phobic person. If you ask me in a busy day to go and get someone from Howrah, oh my goodness, I'll start panting, because so much of commotion is there, so many people are there, So, so that is how I am. But when I faced 30-day life challenge, I knew that I have to face the world, because Facebook is something which everybody will be able to see, and many people can forward my videos to someone or the other. But I knew that I have to face this challenge no matter what. So I crossed that 30-day challenge. I took part in 7-day challenge. And Snehal came up with this thought that why don't you write a chapter for my book? And I was like, oh my goodness, I felt like a celebrity. And then I thought one thing. I have promised Dr. Kaushik that I have to be the brand ambassador. And rather than shying away from my thoughts or who I am, since I have already accepted myself, it's time for me to go ahead and provide that bait of acceptance to other people. So in this 30-day life challenge, what happened was not lot of few children, they started calling me through Messenger. That two girl children, they are from Chennai. I not name them or the place. So they called me and they messaged me first. Then I spoke to them over Messenger call, and they said that this is how we are feeling. They were both girls, but they had that boyish thing in them. How to go about it? I said first approach your parents. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. If you're scared, your battle is gone. If you're not scared, you win the battle there. So don't be scared. Tell your parents what it is. And if possible, tell me that she has gone through this trauma and she's alive today after the surgeries. So their father, one of their fathers, spoke to me. He did not know Hindi, he only knew English. It was very difficult for me to understand his language though, but I was able to convey the message. You have a brilliant child, at least do justice to the child. People will come and go in your life. The child has come only once.
What you are doing is, I think, tremendous. It takes tremendous courage, I would say, first to go through this journey and, this whole acceptance. Because most of the people, they don't accept it themselves, leave about the people around them, but the acceptance has to come from within. So, what you are doing, and after that, to be vocal about your journey, to share it and inspire people. Like, as you said, two people, girls did get in touch with you. And if you can make a difference to even one person's life that you are touching, I think our lives are worth it. And what you are doing is beyond imagination, because it takes so much of courage to come out of this whole shell and to talk about something like this. Because as we know, people are generally not so accepting about the whole idea. So, hats off to you. Your whole journey, it's so inspiring. I'm sure today also people who are listening to it, watching it, and there will be so many people who will be watching afterwards as well. So it will be a great, great inspiration for them. I think we have again lost Olivia. She is facing some connectivity issues, but as I was saying, that she has been an inspiration for many, many of us, and she is doing a tremendous job that by coming out and talking about her journey to people, because gender dysphoria is something. Okay, we are.
Ah,
I think we lost you. I was just talking to the audience that what you are doing is tremendous to, come out and talk about something like this, because most of us are even completely unaware. I would say we are so insensitive towards it. As you had also seen in your growing up years, your childhood, that people take it in a completely different light because we are insensitive, we are uneducated about it. So to talk about it and spread awareness, I think that's a great thing which you are doing. And today also, I'm sure people who are watching and who would watch later as well, to sensitize people, to let them know what it is actually. And you are already a celebrity, let me tell you. You are
oh
an
my.
inspiration to so many. You have no idea. And as you said, it's mostly in our head. People don't have time to really sit and think about you. It's just that I think we like to live in this self importance thing where we think that the whole world is just focusing and talking about us. So, it's a lot about how we look at things, how we accept, and our perspective is. So, a lot of things around us change as well. And all I can
Because
say
I
is,
feel that do not be ashamed of yourself, I would say, first of all. I mean, people are no one to tag you. You know your inner bit, you know yourself, you know the intent, how your intentions are. If that is correct, you are truly a gem of a person. Because if you're not hurting someone intentionally, if you're not a wicked person or an evil person, there you are a true self person, self made person. And I believe that what happens is people don't accept themselves is because that thought is injected in themselves in childhood that this is not who you are, this is not who you are, we will not be going ahead and protecting you, supporting you. So that you know uh, thought of loss is always there. The thought
Because
of
what our
getting
upbringing
that
as
scary
well.
thought is always there.
Yes, very true. Because
Ex-
that's how we, instill in the child that if you do not fall into these certain categories, you are not acceptable. We instill in the child
exactly.
right from the childhood. So that has to change. All I would like to say is, Olivia, thank you very much for being here, sharing your journey, and inspiring so many people. You have no idea about it. And keep doing what you are doing. You are truly, truly courageous, and you're a true warrior, I would say. So thank you once again for, just agreeing so readily to be here and talking to people and letting us know you so much better and this so I myself was, I would say, illiterate until I spoke to you regarding this. So it's truly been an
Okay.
inspiration, and all I can say is like there's a heartfelt gratitude that you came here today and you spoke to us. So thank you so much, Olivia. Thank you very much.
Honor for me, Sweta, that people like you who want to know more about it, who want to make awareness, they are somewhere the part of my journey for being the ambassador and stop most of the children getting killed or getting into wrong hands and sustain their life the way they want. So thank you so much for being a part of this journey, and it's an honor. Always, it's an honor.
Thank you so much.
I'm really looking forward to meet you in Kolkata. Once I visit there, I'm going to first
Me.
meet you.
Yes, the next time you are here in the city, we'll definitely meet. I'm so looking forward.
Definitely. So I think the session was fruitful and very informative.
Very.
Okay.